that will be something that will really touch families and communities. So look forward to working with all of you on that at the country level, and to the government of South Korea on new innovations. We need new tools. That's one of our biggest barriers.
public life. He initiated a mass campaign of wiping out polio from the face of India, which eventually led to India becoming polio free in 2014. He has penned his involvement with a journey of the Pulse Polio program in his book titled A Tale of Two Drops. He was also instrumental in enactment of legislations against tobacco and drug abuse. As Union Minister for Environment, Forests and Climate Change in his last term, Dr. Vardhan is credited with having conceptualized a grand campaign, Green Good Deeds, to create mass awareness about protecting environment and the planet Earth. His backing for WHO's Essential Drug Program has revolutionized government's attitude towards public health care. Recognition and awards have always followed him. In 1995, he received the Lions International Award. In May 1998, the WHO's DJ certificate and commendation medal for his contribution towards a tobacco-free society. In 2001, the Rotary International's Polio Eradication Champion Award. He's the first ever Indian to receive this prestigious award. In July 2008, he was hailed as a leader of the future by Indian doctors in USA. His favorite quote is Swami Vivekananda's, "Take risks in your life. If you win, you can lead. And if you lose, you can guide." I again thank Dr. Harshvardhan, the Honorable Minister, for taking the time to talk to us today. Every moment of his time is invaluable. Before we go further, I would like to introduce our National President of FICCI Flow, Ms. Janvi Phukan. Janvi Phukan is the 37th National President of Flow, the women's wing of FICCI. She's the first Flow president from Northeast. Janvi is an entrepreneur and co-founder of National Tourism Award-winning companies Jungle Travels, India, and Assam Bengal Navigation under her JTI Group. Her companies are in travel and tourism, long-distance river cruising, hospitality, tea and textile, all of which touch women's lives and livelihood. Ms. Janvi is a member of National Board of Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship and now under the Ministry of Entrepreneurship and Skill Development since 2012. Passionate about sustainability, Ms. Phukan's platform called Cognac has worked towards promoting the artisan and weavers of the region with its signature out of Northeast India, curated collection since 2008. Tribal heritage was Ms. Janvi's vision to enable a sustainable livelihood to rural women by providing quality yarn and collecting their produce from their doorsteps. Through her band of weavers, since 2003, she was the vice chairperson of Flow Northeast chapter. In 2007, she's passionate about women's empowerment and timelessly works towards building sustainable livelihoods for women's economic upliftment. FLO's President Janvi Phukan will now welcome our chief guest and present a moment of appreciation. So now over to you, Janvi.
Thank you, Lalita. Adaranya Swasthya Mantriji, Namaste. Sir, you have given us your time in the midst of the Corona war. And on behalf of FLOW, the women's wing of FICCI, I thank you. We want to tell you how proud we are at FLOW. And on behalf of my FLOW past presidents who are here with us today, my GB members, and all our FLOW fraternity, how proud we at FLOW are, and the country is, of your exemplary work in combating these pandemic times. It was under your leadership that polio was wiped out from our country. It was your rational drug policy for India that was taken up by WHO as the Delhi model and adopted by many countries. Today, sir, I would like to touch upon 5 basic issues that impact the health of women in our country. We take reproductive health, the target 3.1 of Sustainable Development Goals set by United Nations aims to reduce the global maternity mortality rate to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. We understand that from special programs like the Janani, Shishu, Sarakya, Karyakaram, India has been able to reduce the mortality rate that's dropped from 130 in 2015 to about 113 in 2018. However, sadly, I think the state, Assam, where I come from, still has the highest mortality ratio in the country.
I will wait for you outside.
Talk about violence against women, that's the second point.
Wait or will wait?
Wait.
Will.
We find that research has shown that violence against women is a problem that's often ignored by the authorities who think it's beyond their purview. But violence against women and girls is one of the things that hold back the universal achievement of the SDGs. I'm happy to share with you, Minister, that FLOW this year will actively participate in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence as propagated by UN to make women aware of their rights. During this time, FLOW will also take up online training of teachers on safety and sensitization issues from high school level. FLOW will also work with men's organizations dealing against violence and abuse to address these very basic issues. The third issue I want to talk about is the nutritional status. According to the National Family Health Survey, Indian children are among the highest proportions of malnutrition in the world. More than half, 53% of all our girls and boys under 4 years were malnourished. As per the Global Hunger Index release of October 2020, we find the report has accessed the data of 132 countries, but has ranked only 107 of them. India's overall score is 27.2 on this list of 107 countries. India has also recorded a child stunting rate of 37.4%. The fourth issue is the unequal treatment of girls and boys. The State of World Population 2020 report, released by UN Population Fund, has stated that the number of missing women has more than doubled in the past 50 years, from 61 million in 1970 to a cumulative 104.2% to 104.6 million in 2020. Of this global figure, India accounted for 45.8 million missing females in 2020, as against China has accounted for 72.3 million. The fourth issue is of HIV/AIDS. India has the third largest HIV epidemic in the world, with 1.2 million people living with HIV. But compared to neighboring countries, India has made great progress in reducing new HIV infections. It's reduced by half since 2001. As per the bill passed in the upper house of parliament in 2017, India will treat anyone with HIV and AIDS free. Anyone in India, the government of India will go to take care of this treatment. So coming back to COVID-19, you have mentioned that India has initiated the integrated response against COVID-19 and the hosting of clinical trials for all the major vaccines. And about 20 vaccines now are at different stages of development. Health and healthcare has seen fundamental changes, and several paradigm shifts have taken place because of these COVID times. So I would like to seek your plans how to improve women's position in India in the health sector. We find that women are increasingly at greater risk of sexual and domestic violence in COVID-19. There are disruptions to their healthcare services. There are stockouts of suppliers of contraceptives and menstrual hygiene products, besides the added mental stress and anxiety. It is critical that we address our emergency response policies through a gender lens to improve planning and programming, advancing women's rights, building women's leadership, and investing in movement building are the key levers of change. We at FLOW this year are working on a 3-pronged initiative, which we call the FLOW 3 Cs, of competency, capacity, and confidence building for women at 3 levels. Mental health has been such a key challenge. We have addressed this through psychosocial counseling for more than 15,000 migrant workers, COVID-positive persons, and frontline COVID warriors. At the grassroots level, sir, we have taken up the village adoption program, where we are working on life skills training for rural women and the migrant returnees. We have signed MOUs to train 8,500 adolescent girls and 4,500 women in transformational life skills program. This is an internationally recognized and certified program. We've had good response from the Northeast, in fact, and we're working on this with the governments there. During the lockdown, Flow had also taken on the financial literacy programs for both online and offline for 4,000 women living in poverty. And so at the urban level, Flow has started working on adopting an ITI in each of our 17 chapters. We've started online training and we found a tremendous response from the ITI students. We've tied up with NSDC to promote this further. The reason why I'm telling you this is because we think that this is a tremendous medium available to us at Flow to help with the government. The social campaigning, the building awareness and driving messages is a responsibility that we and Flow can commit ourselves to for your ministry under your guidance. Cancer awareness and screening has been taken up in almost all our chapters. We have taken up menstrual hygiene training with thousands of adolescent girls and women across India. We have had training of our healthcare workers. This was recently conducted by our Flow chapter of Kanpur. So these are the points that we at Flow are trying, sir. I won't take up much of your time, but I do want to tell you that on behalf of all of us at Flow, thank you, and we look forward to a very enriching, interactive session with you. Now, as a token of our appreciation, we have a virtual memento which we would like to play for you. So may I request Vicky IT to please share it on the screen. This is for you, sir, on behalf of all of us at Flow. Thank you very much. May I now request Lalita to take over.
Thank you, Janvi, and of course the FICCI IT team. Now over to you, Honorable Minister, from whom we have been waiting to hear. Sir, the floor is all yours. Sir, the floor is all yours, Harshvardhanji.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. President of FICCI FLO, Madam Jahanvi Phukanji, other distinguished office bearers of FLO, I know about, I can see in the program about Ujjwala Singhania ji, who is going to be doing the vote of thanks activity, our senior vice president. Honestly, I'm not familiar with other members, but I know Lalita Nijhawan ji for quite some time. She has been pursuing for this program for quite some time, and she is your treasurer, and all the other distinguished members of the very, very prestigious organization that Janvi ji, you are heading. I must congratulate you and thank you. Number one, thanking you for all the warm words that both of you, Lalita ji and you, had expressed about me. And I was so impressed that you are neck deep into all the issues about women and more particularly about women's health. And the fact that you spoke about your concern for maternal mortality rates and the safe motherhood issues and the security and safety issues about women and all, I think time doesn't permit me to actually speak on all those issues, but I am so happy that FICCI FLO is really involved with all these activities which actually contribute to the cause of health and more particularly women's health, because I have been working in the field of health for uh, this is almost the fifth decade since I entered medical college in the 70s. And health has been a huge passion for me. In fact, this is just like my heart and soul. All my life, I have spent my working in the field of health. A decade in the medical college, and then a decade with the medical associations, and then uh, in the 90s as union, as minister in the Delhi government, and then, of course, a decade working for the Southeast Asia region for the World Health Organization, and of course, the last 6, 7 years under the able leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. So I know the importance of health, and I know that health can actually transform the overall scenario of the country if we have good healthy people, and there also if we can take care of the health of the women, because uh, women are actually the nucleus of everything. They are not only the nucleus of the family, but they are the nucleus of the whole society, and they are the real pivot around which the whole lot of activities they revolve. And a woman is a great mother, she's a great teacher, she's a great mother-in-law, she's a great daughter. She's in fact too many personalities and too many facets combined in one. And wherever there is a uh, good woman on the scene, we can see that naturally that place has a lot of dignity and lot of you see naturally a lot of good things they actually arrive at the particular scene. So I have a huge amount of respect and commitment for women's health also. And I sometimes feel sorry also that for even basic things, say for example, anemia. Even after 70 years of independence, we find that more than 50% of the women in the country and more than 50% of the pregnant women in the country, they are all still anemic. And treating anemia is not a big, huge rocket science that it involves so many things. So I'm very happy that you are actually all involved into this. And I have enjoyed the role and the support of the women in organizations like yours and many other organizations with, you can say, similar nature, right from the beginning of my public life, which I started in the towards the end of 1990, and when I had conceived and was blessed by God to dream about a polio-free India, I know how much the organizations like yours had helped me, and how within the organizations the women had helped me, how the younger people had helped me. And this is all because of the contribution of well-meaning, educated, sincere, committed, selfless, dedicated people like you who actually help in contributing so much for the society. So I think meeting you today on this forum is a great privilege for me. That's how I look at it, because I don't see this meeting as something which is a formal meeting which will happen in 40, 45 minutes and then the things I see this as a beginning of a great relationship with the health sector of India for the women of the country, for which you people are the right mediators. And I don't see you as people who only belong to your own club, but you all being educated and actually holding these responsible positions, and you are also the spouse of so many important people holding so many important positions in the society, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it is in the industry, whether it is in the social field, or whether it's in the political field. Everywhere, I think. So it's the organization of yours is a nucleus for many other things, and it has a huge potential. At least I can see that potential, and I want that our relationship should continue for a long time. You had asked me to actually, because there is so much that I can keep on and on and on talking about the field of health, because I have always believed that health is something which has always to be seen as something which is not a, you see, it's not a tall order to ensure that we ultimately deliver health for all or achieve health for all. If we can appreciate and understand that 90% of health is only prevention, it is only positive, healthy attitude development, it is only about promotive health, and it's only 10% which is the therapeutic part of it, then everybody can contribute so much for improving the health scenario of the country. And this is where I look at the potential of everybody, and where everybody can contribute to the health scenario of the country. You can even appreciate that in COVID also, it's 90% or maybe 99% of COVID is only about protection. It's only about prevention. It is only about positive behavior. It is only about taking a few precautions. It is only about educating people. It is only about motivating people to follow the right things and simple things, and you protect yourself from a virus which has actually devastated the whole world, which has caused so much of agony and so much of distress to the whole humanity. But here also, in spite of it being such a virulent and such a powerful transmission capability virus, you can protect yourself with a small precaution. Just put a good quality mask and wear it properly and maintain a social distance, and then take care of the hand hygiene and respiratory etiquettes, and you are actually protected. So this, I said this, and this is relevant to every sector of health. When we get into the health, we will find that health needs to be actually converted into a revolution, and it has to be converted into a big, huge social movement. And if organization like yours can actually take up the cause in a big way, in the last you see couple of years, in the environment ministry, I think Lalita ji mentioned about it, I had launched the Green Good Deeds movement. In the Ministry of Health, last year I launched the Eat Right India movement. You know, the Prime Minister recently launched the Fit India movement. You see, these are the movements where we don't have to do many big things. We have to only do small things in life. We have to propagate, preach, practice, and disseminate information about these small things and follow them in our own lives, and we can see minimum inputs and maximum outputs in terms of rich dividends that we can deliver for the society. So I would personally appeal to you that you should be an active partner in the realization of the dream for a you see, healthy India. And it has been the dream and the vision of the World Health Organization also, right from the 70s, that the world should have a health for all delivery by 2000. They had promised the whole world that they will get it by 2000. But after having seen the overall scenario of the whole world, and after having, studied what we enjoy as our DNA, what we enjoy as our glorious medical wisdom, I am surely committed and confident that India has the potential to develop a successful model for delivery of health for all, because it's not only about hospitals, it's not only about big technical equipments, it's not only about creating these big facilities only, it's only about changing people, changing their lifestyle, educating them, and educating them right from the time when they are small, when they go to school, when they go to college. So uh, this is I mentioned this because I thought I may not get an opportunity to be talking to you people again and again, but this is a long-term association that I could envisage for the FICCI FLO for the future, where you mentioned about this maternal mortality, things like that. I think that there's a lot that you can work about these issues, because now we have a program like Suman, where we are saying that there is a zero tolerance in the program to refusal of maternal care services and all. We are working on ensuring that in the universal immunization program, we are not happy with a 90% success rate. We have to ensure that 100% children have to get all the dozen vaccines. We have to ensure that ultimately, why should there be even one woman who is anemic in the country? Why should there be even one child who has got malnutrition in the country? So all these issues, there are well-defined programs, there are well-defined systems, there are mechanisms. But I think where the society gets involved into all the implementation processes apart from the government systems, then they actually help us in a big way. And now there is a huge social movement that we are in the process of developing through our health and wellness centers. Health and wellness centers are the places which are created at the grassroots levels. 1.5 lakh of them are in the process of being created by 31st of December 2022. And these are the places where the focus is around these preventive aspects, their focus is around these promotive aspects, focus is around these positive health aspects. And around those health and wellness centers, we are trying to create these social movements, and all these preventive aspects are being strengthened. So organizations like yours can actually start contributing in a big way. Each one of you can become a huge leader in your own areas, in your own places. As far as COVID is concerned, you know that this war against COVID, for me, it started on 8th of January. Now I am into the 11th month of this war against COVID. India was the first country in the whole world where we responded within less than 24 to 48 hours of the first, breaking news that we got when WHO was informed by China about these new cases of coronavirus, which caused pneumonia in patients. And they reported that they had seen them on 31st of December in 2019. And by 6th of January, they had reported in this very building, in this very ministry, we had our first meeting of the experts on 8th of January. So for me, we are on 9th of November, I entered into the 11th month of our fight against COVID. And from the very first day, the government has acted in a very proactive manner. We used a preemptive strategy. We used a graded response. Within a couple of days, we had issued by 17th of January detailed advisories to all the states. We had started the point of entry surveillance. We had started the community surveillance. We had in fact done surveillance for lakhs of people at all our airports, at ship ports and this seaports and our land borders. And then you see, you are all familiar about the history of the last 10 months. We are aware of the great decision by the Prime Minister where we had gone into the lockdown, and we remember the very innovative strategy of the Janta curfew, which was done just before the lockdown, which was a unique, innovative experiment where there was a voluntary participation of everyone in the country, and people expressed their, strong feelings for the medical community also on the same day, 22nd of March. And when there was a need for that bold decision of a lockdown, the country did that. And when we saw that after the lockdown, there was a time to unlock also. That was also a very bold decision. And then phases of those unlocking. You mentioned about these migrant laborers and so many other issues that arose during that period. But government had been handling each one of them very, very boldly. And the best part of the whole story of the last 10 months is that society and organizations like yours and many others, you see, I was part of a program where the Niti Aayog organized for me a video conference like this and connected me to almost 90,000 organizations in the whole country who had actually supported poor people during the whole, phase of lockdown and others, so providing them food, providing them shelter. Apart from what actually the government did, government also ensured that over 80 crore people, they were provided food, ration and money in their banks and all. And when it was required, we transported back over 65 lakh of these migrant laborers through railways and other things. So not only the government, but the society as such and the organizations like yours, they all rose to the occasion. And that's what India's beauty is. And as a health minister, I can say that I was so fortunate that all, arms of the government, they were all around us. And fortunately, being a science minister, I could see that also from close quarters. All the scientific community, they also rose to the occasion. Whether it was a mandate for building or doing a research on something else, but everybody had put their heart and soul into the research around finding solutions to mitigate the COVID thing. And the scientists, they did their best. They were producing, new types of ventilators. You know that initially we had so much of problems around the PPEs, N95 masks, ventilators. We were importing them. And in a few months, we were in the position to start, to be able to export them to all the parts of the world. And the scientists could do research around genome sequencing. They could isolate the virus. They could actually do the research around repurposing of the drugs. And now the scientists are well ahead of many others in the whole world in terms of our research around vaccine development and its delivery to the people. And now we are in a position when I confidently tell Indians that in a couple of months from now, we should be able to deliver a vaccine to the people of India. So scientific community rose to the occasion. All the arms of the government rose to the occasion. It was a whole of government approach. It was a whole of society approach. And it is all because of this, everybody's support, that today we can very proudly say that our performance, compare it on any parameters, and the parameters are not set by us, the parameters are set by the World Health Organization. We have the highest recovery rate in the whole world. It's almost touching 94% now. We have the least fatality rate. We are doing over 1 million tests every day. We started with one lab. Please, appreciate that only a few years back, this test, this swab that you have, many of you might have experienced a COVID test. This swab used to go to America's Center for Disease Control for being tested. And when we started our war against COVID, we had only one facility in Pune where we could do that. We started our journey from that. And today when I talk to you, in the morning 8 o'clock, because every hour the whole data changes, we have got 2,115 laboratories established in every nook and corner of the country. You just travel 2 to 3 hours, and 97% of the country you will find a lab where you can have a COVID test. That's what we have been able to create. Over 20 lakh dedicated beds, isolation beds, ICU beds, oxygen supported beds. All these have been created only dedicated for COVID during the course of these months all across the country. So whether it is facilities, whether it is providing equipment, all this goes on to prove that whenever India decides, it can do it. And that's why the Prime Minister has so confidently, he always talks about delivering a new India to all Indians by 2022. I remember a function in 2017. He delivered a speech at our party headquarters and he said, for a moment, just imagine that you are into 1942 when there was a Quit India movement. And just 5 years after that, there we got the independence. And he said, just imagine that in 2017, you are into that 1942, you see, frame of mind. And dream, I want to dream just now that when India completes 75 years of independence, we want to deliver a new India to all Indians, where we can have a smile on everybody's face, we can give good education, health and nutrition facilities to every child, we can take care of the security and safety of every woman, we can take care of the self-respect of the elderly and all. And then he says, I want an India where only humanism and nationalism, things like that will prevail. And he said, please dream with me. Please blend your individual dreams in my dream for a new India. And that's how this journey, and now is talking about this Atmanirbhar Bharat. Every day is talking about strengthening the local component in our mindset. And there are so many things that he has announced that time doesn't allow us to talk about all that. But I think all of us, COVID has taught us that as a health minister, I feel that it has brought health to the center stage now. And health, which probably deserved much more attention all over the world, has started getting more attention in terms of strengthening. We have a very ambitious plan over the next few years where if we have a similar pandemic or something like that, we can have better, infrastructure for testing, for infectious diseases, for surveillance, for communicable diseases and many things like that, even at the grassroots level. I will not discuss all that right now, but COVID has what we call as COVID appropriate behavior. and the new normal that has developed in the society, the changes that have been now, you see, advocated in terms of what we call, as you see, guidelines right now. But I think these guidelines have uh, changed our perception. We already had this mechanism. We knew there was a digital way of communicating, but we were never using it. We have never realized that this is a less time consuming, this is a more environment friendly and more, you see, committed, or you see, worthy way of communicating. And as I said earlier, we have been able to communicate with in the last 10 months. Although I used to travel all over the country, I have visited all scientific laboratories and every institution, but in the 10 months, I have done so much through the video conferencing, and the whole country and the Prime Minister and all, every day there is a international meeting. Today also it's a Thursday. Every Thursday at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we communicate with all the health ministers of the whole world through the WHO platform. So this is, I think, this is a sort of a blessing in disguise for the whole. And I fondly remember that the first cabinet note, one of the few cabinet notes that the Prime Minister had, was about the digital India at that time, and we can see the impact. So COVID, I would say, it has reminded us of many things, and you see the austerity and all that we are supposed to be following, the time that we used to be, we had probably forgotten even our own family members. We had even forgotten that you need to spend good quality time with your family, with your parents, with your children. I think the COVID has taught us all that. And these are the positive changes that have happened in the society. And now the way the social functions and other things are, you see, being organized, maybe because of COVID. But some of the things that have, I think, that appear to have been forced upon us right now, I think they are like a blessing in disguise for this new normal. I personally feel many of the components of the new normal, they should stay forever, whether COVID is there or COVID is not there, whether COVID is gone or not. At least people have started realizing that you could spend some of your good time protecting your health, some of your good time spending time on walking or doing some yoga or meditation or things which will, and then eating nutritious food, concentrating on the quality of food, whether it is balanced or not, whether does it have fruits or not, does it have green vegetables or not. So many of the good things that have been reminded to us during COVID times, I think we have to adopt all those things. And I think when we meet next time, we will love to have a detailed discussion. And for the time being, I will like to, number one, thank you for this interaction, and also appeal to you that some of the simpler things that we have actually started, we are trying to grow as movement. I mentioned about the Eat Right India campaign. I mentioned to you about the Fit India campaign. I mentioned to you about my Green Good Deeds campaign that I had launched as Environment Minister. I think these are some of the campaigns where you people can very easily get yourself involved into, and maybe they will have huge, you see, productive results for the society. We can see a distinct, perceptible and measurable change in the quality of life of the society. And that's what our mother planet also needs and deserves. And also, I think that's also has to be our duty towards the society. So we will have many more interactions with you people, and maybe when the things improve, maybe at a later stage we could even meet physically also have good brainstorming and good discussions. And maybe some of the things we could start focusing on, where the FICCI FLO could be an active contribution to the realization of our dreams. And of course, with these few words, I would love to thank you, Janvi ji and Lalita ji and Ujjwala ji and all your colleagues from all over the country, and particularly those who have joined in this program today. So, wishing you all good health, hoping that there will be better times in the near future. And I promise you that in 2021, we should be able to take care of COVID in a much more scientific manner by even raising the immunity levels of the community by giving vaccine also to the people who deserve it to be given on priority to begin with. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
No, Dr. Saab, we need to ask you just 2 questions, please. We've been, actually, we wanted to ask you so many, but we'll stick to 2 or 3, please, if you allow us.
Yes, please.
Yes, I mean, I promise there won't be, but anyway, we want to thank you for enlightening us with your expertise. And I want to ask you one question. And I think I'm going to ask you in Hindi now.
जी.
माननीय मंत्री जी, आप हम एज अ फिक्की फ्लोर ट्रेजरर, आई वांट मेरे दिमाग में एक प्रश्न है कोरोना वायरस के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के बारे में, कि ये जो वैक्सीन है, सबसे पहले ये जैसे सरकार ने स्पष्ट भी कर दिया है कि ये फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स को ही दी जाएगी, लेकिन आम लोगों तक कब मिलेगी?
देखिए, पहली बात तो यह है कि जो हमने प्रायोरिटी के बारे में कहा है, लेकिन आम लोग, सभी लोग आम लोग हैं, और प्रायोरिटी का आधार जो है वो भी वैज्ञानिक दृष्टि से ही प्रायोरिटी चूज की गई है, क्योंकि इतने बड़े 135 करोड़ के देश के लिए एक साथ तो सारी डोजेज नहीं उपलब्ध हो सकती। जैसे हमारा अनुमान है कि हमारे को जुलाई अगस्त तक जो है 400-500 मिलियन डोजेज जो है हमारे को उपलब्ध होंगी, जो भारत के अंदर जो वैक्सीन का रिसर्च करके जो आउटकम आने की संभावना है। अभी जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल के 3rd फेजेस में जो लोग पहुंच गए हैं, वो जिस स्थिति में है, कब से वो वैक्सीन डिलीवर कर सकते हैं, उसके आधार पर जो एक हमने टेंटेटिव गाइडलाइन बनाई है, उसमें करीब ये जो डोजेज हैं 400-500 मिलियन, ये 25-30 करोड़ लोगों को मैक्सिमम जो है शुरुआती, क्योंकि ये एक वैक्सीन को 2 हफ्ते 3 हफ्ते के गैप पे 2 बार लगाना होगा एक व्यक्ति को, तो स्वाभाविक है कि सोसाइटी में प्रायोरिटाइज करना पड़ेगा। तो आप जानते हैं कि जो हेल्थ केयर वर्कर है, जो अस्पतालों में काम कर रहा है, जो कोरोना वॉरियर है, जो 10 महीने से लगातार अपने प्राणों को भी खतरे में डालकर, और कितने लोगों के प्राण भी उनके चले गए हैं इसके अंदर, तो उनको जो है उसके अंदर नेचुरली प्रायोरिटाइज किया गया है। उसके बाद जो है थोड़े जो 65 साल से ऊपर के बुजुर्ग हैं उनको प्रायोरिटाइज किया गया है। उसके बाद 50 साल से 65 साल वालों को प्रायोरिटाइज किया गया है। उसके बाद 50 साल से कम के जिनको दूसरी बीमारियां हैं उनको, यानी ये हमारा कोई डिस्कशन है कि हमने किसी चीज के ऊपर टिक मार दिया, ये सब कुछ वैज्ञानिक दृष्टि से एक्सपर्ट्स इसको डिसाइड कर रहे हैं। अगर हमारे पास एक साथ 135 करोड़ लोगों के लिए वैक्सीन होती तो हम फिर 135 करोड़ लोगों को एक साथ शुरू कर सकते थे। तो इस दृष्टि से ये प्रायोरिटाइज किया गया है, और उसके लिए बहुत एक वृहद योजना के तहत जो है इसकी बहुत डिटेल्ड प्लानिंग, जो काम हमको अभी अगले साल मार्च अप्रैल में करना है मान लीजिए, उसकी तैयारी अभी हम 3 महीने पहले से कर रहे हैं, और इतनी डिटेल्ड मेटिकुलस प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं। उसके लिए इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्लेटफॉर्म डेवलप किया गया है, जो एक ऑलरेडी ही हमारा एक ई-विन करके वैक्सीन इंटेलिजेंस नेटवर्क करके एक प्लेटफॉर्म ऑलरेडी हमारे पास है। सारे देश में हम जो है, आप जानते हैं, करोड़ों बच्चों को यूनिवर्सल इम्यूनाइजेशन प्रोग्राम में 12 टीके देते हैं। आपने देखा कि भारत ने जहां 60% पोलियोग्रस्त बच्चे दुनिया के थे, हम लोगों ने पोलियो को जड़ से उठाकर फेंका, और कम से कम हम पिछले 25 साल से सारे देश के बच्चों को 5 साल से छोटे पूरे देश में लाखों सेंटर्स बनाकर उनको -20 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड पर वैक्सीन पहुंचाते हैं। और अभी तो हमने इस अपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्लेटफॉर्म को और मॉडिफाई कर दिया है, इसको ई-विन से कोविन प्लेटफॉर्म कर दिया है। इस कोविन प्लेटफॉर्म पे यानी पहले प्लेटफॉर्म हमारा वैक्सीन को यानी कहाँ कहाँ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से लेकर और लास्ट पॉइंट तक जाने तक उसको उसके टेम्परेचर तक को भी वो ट्रैक करके हमें बताता था कहाँ पर वैक्सीन है। अब वो हमें वैक्सीन किस समय किसको लगेगी, किसने लगाई, कहाँ पर लगाई, किस समय लगाई और उसका साथ में सर्टिफिकेट भी उसको, यानी इतने लेवल की उसके अंदर सारी ट्रैकिंग और ट्रेसिंग है। तो उसके लिए मैं आपको सिर्फ इतना विश्वास दिलाता हूँ कि बहुत गहराई, गंभीरता, प्रामाणिकता और पूरी ऑब्जेक्टिविटी के साथ उसको प्लान किया जा रहा है। इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि होपफुली 2021 should be a better year for all of us as compared to 2020.
Thank you. Now over to Dharitri, please. Dharitri, quickly.
Namaste, and I would at the outset like to congratulate you, Honorable Minister, your ministry, along with the state governments, the way you've handled the pandemic. My question to you is, how is your ministry planning to bridge the gap between urban and rural healthcare services and infrastructure?
You see, as I had mentioned also, you see, right now there is no significant gap. It used to be there with the National Health Mission and the large number of schemes that have been launched. Right now, can you imagine that in the country, we are in the process of development of 157 new medical colleges, and the last 75 that we had decided and planned about are in the aspirational districts. For them, the criteria was aspirational districts of the country. And so in the poorest of the poor, you can say, where people are living deprived of all the services, we are creating medical colleges. I mentioned to you about these 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers, out of which more than 50-60,000 have already been created, and by the end of 2022 we'll have all of them created all over all these facilities for upgradation of these hospitals and all. Even now this new program I mentioned about Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat and all, there is a plan to develop investigation facilities of for infectious diseases, hospitals, testings and all that, even at the block levels. So there is, and this through the National Health Mission, the government actually supports all the state governments. They make their own huge plans to strengthen the services in the remotest of areas. So it is no longer there is any difference between the services at the urban level or the rural level. And as far as the present government is concerned, we have a very, very strong focus of Prime Minister is hugely committed for the welfare of the poor people and for the rural people and for the farmers and for the people who are in these aspirational and deprived districts. 2 years back, he developed a program where for all the aspirational districts in the country, he had sent 1,000 officers from the government of India. And there was a program which ran into a month and all, where it was to be ensured that all the services and all the facilities, actually they all in the aspirational districts, they have to get them as much as the others in the country are getting. So I can get into the nitty-gritty of so many things around this question, but you can be assured that we have a far brighter future as far as health services in India are concerned. And right now, through the national health policy also, there are so many things in the offing for the future, and more particularly for the poorer people of the country. So I think if you permit, Lalita ji, I have another function at 12 with all the international organizations. So maybe...
yeah, okay. So we have two more, but we won't take any more. Dr. Saab, as you say, we we respect your time. But just over to Janvi for her concluding remarks, just for a minute.
Thank you so much, Lalita ji, for this.
Just a concluding remarks by Janvi.
Sir, we want to tell you that all of us, we want to salute you for the work that you are doing for the nation, and that the world is looking to India for answers, and how you have done our recovery rates and so many other things that we are so proud about. But because of your time constraint, we'll let you go. But we want to just tell you that, sir, we at Flow would like to be partners of your health ministry to revolutionize and the way you're taking this forward. Please let us be partners and work on whichever parameters you've spoken about. You've spoken about the anemia consciousness. Wherever we can raise awareness, we are there with you. That you consider health to be a social movement. And we, from all the levels that we work in, we would love to be partners with the ministry. And on that note, we will leave you, but please give us this opportunity to meet and take this forward. In all these aspects that you've spoken about, it is so doable. This social consciousness is our responsibility and our little contribution to nation building. So we look forward to this opportunity, and thank you so much for taking us across all the parameters of healthcare and the COVID fight that your ministry is fighting for our country and for the world. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Harshvardhan ji. Thank you so much.
Janvi ji, I am overwhelmed by your offer of your support for the health causes through FICCI, FLO, and I am sure that this is going to be a great boon for us also. We always look forward to support from the non-government organizations and organizations like yours. I think they mean a lot to us, and one of these days, maybe with a small group of yours, we can have a good quality brainstorming where we can all work together and see that in the coming years, we have very, very ambitious targets to work on. One of the foremost is about eliminating tuberculosis from the country by 2025. And there our goal is set for, 5 years earlier than the international goals. And we are into elimination of many other diseases. And as I mentioned, we want zero tolerance for refusal of these maternal services and all those things. 100% immunization to children in the universal immunization program, elimination of diseases like measles and all. So there are so many things that we could actually do together. You yourself mentioned about our national digital health mission, and then I think one of these days we'll meet and deliberate upon how we can work together and ensure that we ultimately become, the first ones in the whole world to be able to deliver health for all, for our people, and ensure universal health coverage, which is the big movement around Ayushman Bharat has already started. And I think there are so many things that I wanted to discuss and I could have spoken, but time never allowed that. But maybe next time when we meet, we'll try to plan a ample time for good quality discussion. So thank you so much once again. Wish you all good health for you, for your family, for your friends, and for everyone around you. Namaskar. Jai Hind. Bharat Mata ki jai.
Bharat Mata ki jai. Yes. Actually, you can close it down. You can close down.
Stop the recording, we can talk.
Even if you stop recording, but I think the YouTube will continue.
Okay.
Unless just ensure that YouTube is closed. Anshu? Anshu, is it done? The YouTube streaming?
I have to
Or
call
it's still live.
Okay, we have to switch off here then. Thank you, Lalita. Great job. Thank you all.
Thank you.